G'day guys. Okay, disclaimer right at the beginning of this one. Do you want to know what my inspiration for this one was? This was actually sent to me by, I can't even remember who it was, but it was in my brain dump section of my diary and I haven't done it, and I know that I actually took it from my earlier brain dump from last year. So this was inspiration from you guys. Somebody asked me if I could do a layout using all different pattern papers, but don't just cut strips. So you have to be able to see what the patterns are. Could I do a layout like that? Well, this is the layout, okay? I pulled out 2 PAIGE Evans paper pads. I pulled out Garden Shop Collection and Bungalow Lane. That's a 6x8 paper pad that I have. So basically, then I went with, I did, look, I'll be honest, this one did stump me a little bit and I did have to stop and think really, really hard. And I think that's why I just kept putting this request on the back burner, because it took a bit of brain power, you know. And I won't lie, I will let you know straight up front, you got to see this through to the very end, because it's a bit of a wild ride. Now, anyone that knows me knows, and if you've been here for more than 5 minutes, you know that I love me a white background, a lot of mixed media, all that sort of stuff. Pattern papers, I use them. I do. However, this particular idea was, I think her name was Kathleen, the lady's name. And basically she wanted me to use not just, she sent it to me when I had done, I'd done a layout. This is how long ago this was, okay? I did a layout using the Simple Stories Vintage Indigo Garden collection. And she wanted to know if I could do something with a collection with lots and lots of pattern. So I got to thinking and I figured, right, I had these photos printed, and even though they're not in black and white, there's very little color in them. So I knew I could do that. Then I figured, I looked at these photos and I thought, Jen, now what is something I could use lots of patterns with Jen? Jen loves flowers, right? So then you can see, this is how my brain was sort of brainstorming where I was going to go with this. So flowers, so I needed to find as many different florals as I could, because it would have been simple for me to just use one pattern paper background. That would have been just simple, right? But if you guys are going to set me a challenge, if you guys want to send me through an idea of something, you might have seen someone else do something and you might want to see what my take would be on it. That's what I took from the request. It wasn't just to use one 12x12 pattern page. It was to use lots of them. So I went through and I decided that I would cut rectangles. Rectangles was going to be my shape of choice, but they were going to be large enough that you're able to see all the different patterns. Now I know at this point you're probably thinking to yourself, Karen, what are you doing? That is ridiculous. What are you doing? That looks stupid. Stick with me. Stick with me. Okay? It's a bit of a wild ride, but it works. It does work in the end, and I'm actually happy with the end result. A couple of scary moments throughout it, but it's okay. So as you can see, I've got that big black and white at the top, and all of these papers have a floral theme. PAIGE Evans. When I decided flowers, that's when I went, well, PAIGE Evans. Who, if I pull out any of her collections, guaranteed there's going to be a plethora of different florals that I can use. So that's what I did. Now, the next step in my mind, because I was, trust me, hyperventilating, thinking, what am I doing? This is crazy. This is not working. This is going to be stupid. But it's okay. So I then decided I would go around and I would ink around the edges using the Distress Oxide Walnut Stain. Is that the right one? Yes. So I ended up using Walnut Stain to go around all the squares. Okay, I thought that would be enough. Right at the very end, I do sort of do a little bit extra. But as you can see, I'm pretty much just layering up kind of at this point, it's kind of patchworky, okay? Now, it's not, is it a typical patchwork? No, because it's one of those things where I had to somehow figure out how I was going to do this so it was cohesive enough, but stuck to the floral theme, okay? So this is what I did. I'm working on it and it's coming together. Now, the only bit that looks a little bit like a square is that top corner there. But that's okay. Squares, rectangles, you know, interchangeable. That really wasn't my huge thing with it. So all I'm trying to do now is just, I've gone through and I've just tacked them together. And that's where my photos are going, down that way, sort of cascading down there somewhere. And that's when I decided to go, okay, just stop for a second. Just fussy cut this flower and just see. Test the waters a little bit, because honestly, I was really, really nervous. I wasn't sure if this was going to work at all. So it'll be interesting to hit. Don't worry, the video hasn't paused. This is what I do. If you're new to my channel, I leave all the juicy bits in, okay? All the good, the bad, and the ugly. I leave them in, and I actually had to quickly duck out and grab a delivery. That's why I'm not there right at the minute. Don't worry, it's not your video. Don't skip. It's okay. I come back in just a second. So there I am. See, I'm back. So yes, so I've realized, so I've got up, I've come back. I'm like, rightio, some of these corners are lifting, need to stick those down because, well, we don't need to add to the crazy. I think we've got a lot of crazy florals going on there. So then I sat down and went, bit of acrylic paint. Oops. There's the first, oops. I was trying to create a bit of a white space. And then I realized, you know what? That's way too much paint. That's crazy. That's a lot. So I was thinking more of a whitewash just to sort of tone it down, not completely void it. So yeah, I ended up, that's a little bit better, not quite so dramatic, not quite tall enough, or, you know, it needed to be a little bit longer, but that's okay. It's all good. We got that. I think something different to do there, maybe use a roller if you've got a brayer and roll it on. That might be a little bit better rather than using the paintbrush, because none of this paper has been gessoed. So I've got to be really careful how much I add to this paper, because she won't hold up to a whole lot of liquid, because it is, you know, it's Paige Evans, it's the thinner paper. So this is where I'm sort of having a little bit of a dig around, and I thought, okay, maybe this just needs some stenciling. So I thought, I'll do a bit of white on white. That will probably work. This might help me tone it down a little, tone down the amount that I've got going on. Very quickly realized this is not the effect that is going to help me salvage this page. I shouldn't say salvage, should I? It's just a whole lot of crazy busy for me personally. That's just my take on it at this point. So I'm trying, and that's when I realized, okay, maybe what I need is texture, not necessarily white paint on top of white paint. You know what I mean? So I've gone through, and as soon as I did that, I was like, aha, right. That actually breaks it up a lot better. It's difficult to see here on the camera, but later on when I do the close-up, you can really see it. You can really tell. Now, You want to see the next big mistake. I thought it was a massive mistake. And don't... It's about to happen. So if you're about to leave and go, I can't do this, I can't watch this, just give it half a second. There it is. Did you see that? Wow, that's some yellow. Okay, that's my Distress Oxide Spray Mustard Seed. She was yellow. And I just went, oh, now what have I done? Are you as scared for me as I was scared for me? Because believe me, at this point I was like, Karen, just throw it in the bin. And then I thought, no, you know what? My subscribers like my channel for the fact that I don't just screw it up and chuck it in the bin. I just keep taking the next step to see if the next step is going to fix it or make it worse. Worst case scenario, it's a little bit of paper, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I can peel my photos back up off it and start from scratch. So, it's alright, Gizmo's trying to get into me. So, yeah, so I did that, and then I realised, hang on, maybe I need a visual triangle. Maybe that, I don't do a lot of the whole visual triangle thing, but I kind of felt that maybe that could work here. Maybe it was that bottom corner having a lot of gold. All right, I have to stand up. I have to let Gizmo in. I apologise. Hashtag mum life. Come on. Sorry, I'm trying to do my voiceovers and I have my door shut when I'm doing them so that my family can do their family thing. And little man needed to come in and have... Why did I think for half a second that more yellow was needed? I'm going to call myself out on this. I don't know why I thought that was needed. Anyway, moving on. It's all right. Stick with me. Trust me. Trust the process. Okay, I wasn't even trusting the process at this point, but it's okay. I just moved to another part, and this is a really good technique if you're becoming very overwhelmed with what's going on your page. Move on to your title. You know, you might have a Cricut, you might need to do some die cutting, something like that. You know, you might have to rifle through some thickers or some ready-made titles or whatever. Do that and look away from the actual chaos that you've just created on a 12 by 12. Give yourself 5 minutes and just go, right. So I cut out my title and I used my Cricut, and I just used one of the fonts that are in Cricut Design Space, and I'm just going through. I have done picked raspberry on the top half of the word, and I have done mowed lawn on the bottom part of the word. So and the pink and the green go together. I nearly, can you believe this? I nearly reached for more yellow. Can you believe I nearly did that? Like, it was going to be the biggest yellow blob, but I stopped myself. And it gave me time enough from not looking at it to register, okay, you've got this. You've got this. So as you can see to my right hand side there, I have fussy cut some flowers while my title was printing. So that way I'm literally just putting the letters onto the offset, which is something that I absolutely love. And don't ever be afraid that if it's something that you love and it is aesthetically pleasing to you, it doesn't matter if you do it on every single layout. It doesn't matter. They're your albums. They're your scrapbooks. You can do whatever you like on your pages your way. And if that means you use lots and lots of mixed media, that's what you do. If punches are your thing, go to town with punches. You do you. If you are like me, if you're incredibly privileged to have yourself a Cricut or a silhouette or a brother scanning cut, or, you know, even even just dies. If you've just got a manual die cut machine or an electronic die cut machine, I don't have one of those, that'd be nice. But, you know, if you've got all of those things at your fingertips, you do you. And you create your title your way. If that's what you like, then go for it. I don't think anyone can stop you doing that. Like, that's just me. I see a lot of people and they're sort of like, oh, I did that on the last 5 layouts and I'm really sorry. Don't ever apologize for it. If that's what you like, that's what you like. Okay. We are coming up the home straight. I'm about to salvage this layout from the depths of yellow mustard seed oxide spray. If there's something you can take away from this, this is what you take away. Be really careful of a new mixed media product that you've never used before. Because if you have I've only had oxide sprays for a very short amount of time, right? I've always just used the oxide ink pads or the distress ink pads. That's been my 2 go-to things, right? But having these sprays, they are fantastic. But boy, they punch really hard. When you spray those things, they really do go to town. So just be mindful of it. Now, as you can see, I'm just cutting out these yellow flowers. Yes, I'm aware that there is a sheet of this particular yellow flowers underneath, but I think, and I always thought that I would put some additional flowers on top. And what I was doing with the yellow and the white, I wanted to create a safe space that I could put some flowers that I kind of was designated to them. So I wanted the yellow to sort of be a little bit of a hue coming out from behind the flowers. I think I achieve it. By the end of this, I think I've achieved it. Purely by fussy cutting. Now, again, I say I don't buy a lot of ephemera. I prefer to fussy cut my own bits and pieces when I'm actually going to use them. I do have my own craft room, but I don't have that much room that I can afford to buy all the bits from every single paper collection. So, you know, that's why I fussy cut them. I don't mind doing it. I use the Tim Holtz mini snips. They're the ones that I use to fussy cut because of my hands. If you're new to my channel, I have really bad rheumatoid arthritis in my hands, and yeah, sometimes my hands look a bit clunky and chunky, and that's why. So it's coming together, guys. It's coming together. Okay, so it's at this point that I realized that the brown ink, remember I said right at the beginning that the brown ink was not, I thought it would be okay, but I come in later. So what I'm using here is the Distress watercolor pencil, and I'm just dipping it in a little bit of water to activate it and just to get more of a thicker line, and it just allows me to create a bit more definition in and around. See, now it looks like that's where I've got RMI. It looks like that sheet is coming out from behind the photos. That was a winning move. I think that saved a lot of it, and those yellow flowers covering up a lot of that mustard seed. It worked. I am shocked myself. Let me know below if you think it works. Is it your favorite layout that I've ever done? Probably not. It's not my favorite either. But it is definitely one of those things that I have lived, I have learnt from it, and I absolutely love it. Now, I was going to go ahead and put some bling on there and then realized, you know what? Stop. You know how I always say take one more step? Stop. There's also a stop point, and that was where I was at. So I did put my journaling. The only part of this entire thing that I think I actually thought of was putting the journaling on this piece here down the bottom, just so it had a nice safe space to sit and you could still read the journaling. And I think that is a bit of a winner. I did go around, and instead of adding more bling onto the page, I just used my gold Uniball gel impact. No, it's a Uniball Signo Broad in gold. And just to add a little bit to the center of those flowers, because the dots were already there, so I'm just sort of highlighting them. So here you can see all the juicy close-ups and all the mistakes and all the dodgy bits. So you can see all the texture paste. See, it does stand out on it. And I absolutely love this layout. Let me know below. Give me a like if you liked it. Leave me a comment below where you think I completely muffed it up. And yeah, like, subscribe, all those fun things. And yes, I will be back tomorrow with another layout for you and for your inspiration. And hopefully you get inspired to try some of these different ideas that I've been brainstorming with. Let me know. And I've also got a Facebook and Instagram group if you want to join those as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye for now.